Young OG, bitch, I talk more shit than Dogface.
The most dangerous voice in Detroit is running all over the YouTube streets. You better look over your shoulder, because you never know who or what's going to get it next. Because Dogface TV is in the area.
5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Let's go. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. My name is Dogface Calderon. This is Dogface TV podcast live on everything. Once again, this is a special segment of the YouTube streets because we have joining us.
First off, don't ever say my part. My part is everything. That's me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's me. You gotta run it back. Run it back one time for me.
Okay, hold on. Let's do it. Hold on.
Broke ass nigga, what you do today? The young OG, bitch, I talk more shit than Dogface.
The most dangerous voice in Detroit is running all over the YouTube streets. You better look over your shoulder, because you never know who or what's going to get it next. Because Dogface TV is in the area.
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Let's go. Welcome, my people. Public figure Boogie is in raw. He's in raw, rare form. I started the show. You probably are wondering, well, why did we get the trigger music again? That's because this rude, dark-skinned gentleman, he mad at me because I said his part of the intro. We all have little shit. No, we like the Temptations. We all got our little shit that we say, right? I accused Juice of being racist, right? I accused Detroit Gossip of being an asshole, and I accused Boogie of all manners of debauchery and shit that's wrong.
That's right. That's right.
I just throw wild accusations out there towards these gentlemen. Our next guest is arguably, the biggest lightning rod. I don't think anybody draws the ire. That's a big word. Ire. It's only 2 syllables, but it's like a big fucking word you learn, I think, in the 3rd, 4th grade. Ire, Boogie. Since you acting like I ain't got no education, Boogie. Drawing somebody's ire means you're pulling their anger and frustration out of them. This motherfucker, who's our next guest, the only person more disliked in the city of Detroit than me is him. Kid L from the Kid L podcast is in the motherfucking building. What's the word with you, L?
Oh man, I'm ready to do this, man. That was a good introduction. What's up, fellas?
What's up now?
Thank you, Dog.
I put the claps in there for you, L. Hey, listen, Kid L of the Kid L podcast is in the motherfucking building. Hey, listen, I never really asked people to like, share, or subscribe shit, but this time I'm asking people to like, share, subscribe, right? Before we kick this motherfucker off. This is going to be this is not an interview. This is a conversation because Kid L has questions himself, right? And I don't normally allow people who come on as interviewees to ask me questions because what type of shit is that? You're here to be grilled. You're here to be raked over the proverbial coals. You see all these big words I'm using?
Goddamn.
Ire, proverbial coals, like the hot coals in the barbecue. Raked over means you, right? Kid L. Detroit has the 313. 313 weekend just passed, Kid L.
Yes.
I thought that we were past the point where people would look at your involvement in the affairs and matters of the entertainment scene in not only the city of Detroit, but the greater Michigan area. I thought we were beyond. Some of the things that I've seen and that we over the last couple of days, but obviously not. I got a call from on high. I received a call from one of the most powerful people in the city of Detroit. And this person said, hey, motherfucker, you bet not. And this is the only person I'm scared of in Detroit. This person who shall remain unidentified. Motherfucker said, "You bet not, you motherfucker, you. If you do." If you do, it's gonna be a problem. Kid L. We have talked about this subject ad nauseum. We have talked about the subject of your contribution. So let's just start this shit, right? Let's talk about, first of all,
Bless you.
I had to, I got these little special buttons, right?
Why do you feel they hate you so much right now? Because I know you feel that way. You gotta feel that way.
Right. I don't have a problem with it because I understand both sides. I'm not like a narrow-minded person where I can't understand why some people hate me and all that jazz. There's a culture, there's a city, there's a movement, there's things that are happening that people don't want me to be a part of. And that's just what it is. Sometimes you can't argue with it because that's a source internally that's telling them that they don't want this person to be involved. There's something within them. It's not just like something that they just manifest out of nowhere. It's something within the heritage, the culture, the community that over time built up within them to the point where when they see somebody like me, they go, "No, I don't want you to be a part of this. I don't want you to be around here. Even if you are contributing, even if you are doing some good things here and there, I don't want you here."
Okay.
Yeah,
Like they put the Vlad stamp on you, and
it's not
I
even about.
disagree.
I don't think it's
I
about Vlad.
disagree.
I don't think it's about Vlad though, because I think Vlad is that's just a media host that obviously he does what he does. Everybody knows what he does. But even if I was doing something else, it would be a problem because it has been showcased in multiple instances where if I'm doing this, it's a problem. If I'm doing that, it's a problem. It's not like about just podcasting. I was shooting music videos at one point. I was doing music reviews. I was doing a lot of networking at one point, and it was always a problem. So it's not about the podcast. It's about just me in entirety that they have a problem with. Even when I was making skits, when I was just making straight up skits, things I thought were funny with my friends, it was always a problem. So it's like, that's just what it comes down to at the same time. It got worse over time as the podcast got bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes, it
Uh-huh.
got worse. That's absolutely.
Okay, so listen. KL, do you feel like that you are being picked on?
I think it's like you have to look at things from other people's side. Like, right? Like you got to look at somebody who came up in the city, grew up in the city, was engulfed in the culture, grew up in certain circumstances, disadvantages, everything that comes with it. And then you see somebody come along that fits in a certain way where you just don't feel right about it. Like internally, you look at this person and you go, like, you know what, this person's here and I don't want him here. It's not, maybe I don't have anything personal. Maybe I don't even know what his content is, but I'm just looking at him and I'm just seeing him and I'm going, like, I don't want you here. Because a lot of times people will call me out on stuff that's not even true. Like, for instance, Crystal the doll called me out on a podcast from 3 weeks ago. It got over 1 million views over social media platforms of her calling me out for being a culture vulture. The clip that she called me a culture vulture about had nothing to do with me. It was Spanky Hayes, one of the founders of Wild and Out, saying that Tubi actors aren't real actors. Crystal the doll took that and spinned it on me, saying, "Why didn't you defend us? Why didn't you put yourself in a position to defend us? Why didn't you do anything about this? You are a culture vulture for not doing anything." Then when I went on live with her, she said, "You are not black, therefore you are a culture vulture." And that was her stance. She had nothing. She knew nothing about me prior, even though we've been in a movie together. Even though I've reached out to her to be on my podcast and she agreed to do it, she literally was just like, "No, I don't like you. I don't want anything to do with you." And now I'm gonna put you on blast. So it doesn't matter what you create or what you say because people will figure out ways to go at you. So internally, I look at that internally with somebody and go like, okay, they just have a problem with me because of me, not because of what the hell I'm producing necessarily.
You know I'm a plain spoken person. Everybody knows I'm a plain spoken person, right? You can't be in the entertainment business and be thin skinned.
Right.
You have enjoyed your fair share of criticism. I think if you have been criticized, let's say 99 times you've been criticized. I think maybe I may have agreed with the criticism maybe once or twice. That's just to tell you the truth. Because I understand the greater goal of entertainment, and I understand that here's what I understand, just so we're absolutely clear. I understand that the hip hop, black people look at hip hop, rightly so, as a black thing, as a thing that was originated in the bowels of the black community of Black America, the ghettos of Black America. That is true. Black people, they tend to hold things near and dear to their hearts. I think that black people, their anger about people who are not black operating inside of the space of hip hop or urban entertainment, I think that their anger, it has risen exponentially because of how the black thing, our thing, this thing of ours has been commercialized. When we say commercialized, we really mean that white people have entered into the building and have taken over. So black people are especially sensitive about people who are not born into this thing enjoying any part of the space, especially if that person isn't really conforming or contorting to how they want that person to be, to sound, or to act like. I want to tell you that even though this thing of ours, it originated in our hearts and our minds, but we have had people who are not a part of our race and nationality have contributed in a positive way. And I'm saying unequivocally that just because you are not black, that does not mean that you are a culture vulture. The term culture vulture is what we call a prescribed noun. It describes a person who does not share the same ethnic background, the cultural background. Taking from something but leaving nothing in its place. Someone who has the black people know what culture vultures are because we surrounded by them. 99% of the businesses in the black community, they should stop bullshitting here. 99% of the businesses in the black community are not black-owned businesses. They are Chaldean-owned, Arab-owned, Chinese-owned, Vietnamese-owned, white-owned. Everything from grocery stores to gas stations. We know that. So black people, we feeling real spicy about. We feeling real spicy. We real vocal about the shit. But I have a problem with people labeling you a culture vulture because it is always, it seems like it is always when you don't do something that people want you to do, or you don't say something that they want you to say. To me, it seems like that's when people raise up against you. And the first thing they say, they don't just say you just an asshole. They don't say you just, they come right with the culture vulture shit. Do you think that's fair based on the contributions that you have added to Detroit's overall entertainment scene?
I mean, it's a tough question because again, it's somebody's perspective, and it's like you
No.
really.
Miss me with the perspective shit. Do you think? Listen, bro, it's okay if you say, "Hey, I think that shit is unfair, bro." And here's why. See, listen, in life, you don't
just broke.
Listen, when you say, "Listen, let me help you out here. I'm gonna give you a bone."
Okay.
when you say, well, it's somebody's perspective, bro. Hey, listen, man, when motherfuckers are criticizing the motherfucker up and down, back and forth, high and low, right and left, you don't have to always prefix how you feel by trying to incorporate how you think somebody else feels about who you are and what you do. Just fucking say how you feel.
I am saying how I feel. The way because I look deep at this. I mean, I have to deal with it every day. Like for you guys, this is something like you'll see my name pop up and it's like, oh shit. And Dogface, you'll get phone calls and you'll see things where like, okay, you thought about it for that moment. I have to think about it every single day that I'm doing anything I do. And I got to watch how I move sometimes because I'm almost like, okay, like we got to be careful. We don't want to like hurt people's feelings or whatever the hell the case might be. The way I sat down and looked at it one day is I said, you know what? Just like you mentioned right now, this is black culture. This is something that is from the deepest level of what's been created with hip hop culture is the black culture. That's
Hey,
where
hey,
it all started. Now,
excuse me.
let me just finish what I'm
Hold
saying.
on, hold on,
All right,
hold on.
go ahead, go ahead.
Hold on, man. Hold on with that. Cut that shit out, bro.
No, listen, hold up, man. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
Sometimes
Uh-huh.
there is a thing called groupthink. There is a thing called mob mentality. Black people, as a people, we are guilty of sabotaging ourselves in more than anybody else in the world right now. So if we're not able to do something, have something, or enjoy something, or to experience something, more likely than not, it is based on our own doing.
Like we won't create the stepping stone, but we'll use somebody else stepping stone and then be mad at them.
My whole point is
Right.
this. It's not my place to tell somebody how they feel about their culture. Because at the end of the day, like you just said, you just gave an entire history from where hip hop is derived from, right? And you gave a reason for why it's so important to kind of create a boundary or why people feel it's important to create a boundary around that culture. Now, for me to come up and be like, what the fuck? Y'all think it's stupidly, bro. Y'all aren't thinking the right way. Like, you should look at this different. Like, why the fuck should I come out and tell somebody to look differently? They have the way that they look at the shit the way they look at it, and I can't change it. It's almost like if you look at like a boxer who plays only defensive. What's Floyd Mayweather? He only plays defensive. He's not really a striker at all times. And you could say he's a pussy. He just backs away the whole time. He's a defensive fighter. It's not a real boxer. But then there's some people who appreciate like, nah, there's technique involved in that. There's skill. There's calculations involved with that. I appreciate that. There's two completely different perspectives about the shit.
So
I
you
can't
saying,
go.
so you're saying that in defense of your own self, when you're being attacked, you're saying you're playing the Floyd Mayweather role by being a defensive back in the corner, allowing
No. I'm not comparing what I do to Floyd Mayweather. I'm saying people's perspectives. If you look at it like that, you got to look at this is how people feel about me. I'm not going to be able to change how they feel about me. Therefore, I can't. Your question to me was, does it upset me? Do I think it's fair? I am not going to say what's fair or not when it comes to somebody's perspective. And I was giving the Floyd Mayweather example as an analogy for people who don't like his playing style because it's not like considered like entertaining boxing, and that's not what people want to see. So I'm saying I'm not going to sit here and try to change somebody's perspective. That's all I'm saying.
No. Hey, listen, here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, are you offended?
It pisses me off. It pisses me off for sure. Like I get pissed off. Yeah, I get mad. I get mad when people.
Are you offended
Mhm.
that some of the people who are criticizing you for your lack of contribution or your lack of continuity or your lack of appreciation or your lack of understanding or your lack of empathy or your lack of a proper view of what the black thing is all about? Are you offended that some of these people have not contributed more than you have?
I was thinking about this yesterday, right? I was like, okay, there's a bunch of people that come out and call me a culture vulture. There'll be 1,000 comments on one post about me being a culture vulture, whatever the case might be. And I always look at those people and I'll be like, okay, why don't you take that energy that you're taking and consuming right now and go take that to somewhere like Ned Zeke and convert that to positive energy and go support Ned Zeke and what he's doing with his new gen. Like, why don't you guys go support that? He's a community leader that's rebuilding structures of multiple cities. and for the youth, for the adults, for just helping rebuild communities. Why don't you go take that instead of being angry at me and go support somebody with that energy? Why is it when somebody's doing something good, whether it's me or not me or somebody else that's from the community, and go support them? Why it's so easy for people to get upset and go fuck this person, but when you go see like Nazik and you see what he's doing and how he's contributing to the communities, you don't say shit. You don't go support. You don't go donate. You don't even leave comments. You don't go like. You don't go share. You don't go do none of that shit. So why are you spending time being negative towards somebody for what you think is negative and not doing something towards somebody who's doing something positive and leave positive contributions towards them? It's just because I'm an easy target for motherfuckers and people don't want to put in the real work to contribute to anything that actually fucking matters. You're mad at somebody for having a fucking podcast. Whatever reasons you want to be mad at me, go fucking be mad at me for it. But why don't you go take the culture vulture shit, convert that into something where you look at organizations and go like, who can I actually contribute to instead of putting negative contributions towards people? Who can I take and put a positive contribution towards? Even Chanel, when Chanel was trying to run 313 weekend, where the fuck was everybody? Where the fuck? That shit was going on for so long where like everybody knew about it. Everybody could have bought tickets even if they weren't gonna go, or anybody could have just been like, yo, we really need to pull up. Or Detroit rappers could have made a video and FaceTime themselves or done whatever and be like, yo, everybody needs to pull up and just done whatever it takes to make it happen. Why did you spend all that time? You were calling me a culture vulture and you guys go support Chanel and what she's doing with the blood, sweat, and tears she puts in it, or Dream Rich. You know what I'm saying? So all this negativity towards me, who's not doing anything that crazy or like I don't really see anything malicious about what I do. Like I have a podcast, people come on, say some funny shit. We give people exposure, and you want to downsize me, fine, whatever. But then why don't you go? Where's your positive energy towards people who are actually doing shit? That's my whole point about everything.
Let me piggyback on what you just said. So Detroit has some pretty amazing black women who are knee deep immersed in trying to move the culture forward, trying to move the entertainment scene to a higher level. Detroit has some pretty dope black females. Period. I'm just going to say it, throw it out there so we're on the same page. I know some pretty astonishing black women who are the fucking bomb. But in the entertainment scene, one of the most poised, well-intentioned, most cooperative spirited people I know is Chanel Dominique.
Right.
Without getting into the whole ruckus, can you tell my people? I want you to look at the camera. I want you to look at the camera and I want you to tell Detroit what Chanel Dominique, what she has meant, what she means, and whether or not you admire who she is and what she does. How
Absolutely.
you feel about her? Tell me.
Absolutely. First of all, you can't not admire the hustle, the work ethic, the contribution, the community involvement with Chanel. Like you can't disregard any of like that's one of the people that's actually pushing the culture forward, pushing the entertainment scene forward, and also she makes so many resources available for people to educate themselves on business, on health, on how to access the entertainment industry and how to maneuver around it. She's a crazy, crazy heavy contributor. Obviously, she's Ice One Vezel's manager too, which is great because she really helped craft his branding and how he puts himself out there, and he's a heavy influence in the scene too. That's one of those people where it's like you're baffled when you don't see support for people like that. Again, that's another person where when everybody was taking shots at me, I was like, why don't you just convert your energy and go support somebody like her then, or somebody like Nazik? Again, like go support, like stop dissing somebody when you're not willing to promote the people that are doing something positive. That's my whole point about everything. If you were dissing me and I seen you at the same time going promoting that Z, going promoting Chanel, going promoting Dream Rich, and everybody who's helping contribute, I'd be like, oh yeah, for real, like, all right, I see y'all are you guys. That's how you do things. But when it's just 100% negative on me and barely any positive things for the people who are doing things positive, that's where I get confused, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Is it confusion or is it anger, frustration, and just plain out motherfucker?
It's just kind of like, all right, when we're talking about, if you're talking about protecting a culture, protecting a community, protecting everything that's involved in the situation, it's like, all right, man, like You can't play one side. You got to play both sides. You got to tap in to the things that are positive. You got to contribute to those things. And if you see something you want out, you can do that too. But you can't just do take this out, blow this away, forget about this without doing the other side, because that makes you a hypocrite. If you're not willing to put in the work for the positive things, then you have no right to speak on anything you believe is negative. You have to contribute. What the hell kind of point is that? Like, what the hell are you doing? You're not moving it. That's like that one guy, like everybody's moving the furniture, and there's just that one guy in the back complaining, like, oh, my back hurts. Like, oh, I can't do nothing. It's like, man, you just leave them. What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? At least try to help. At least try to do something besides being negative the entire time.
Juice.
Like, I feel Kid L absolutely right. And I feel it's just he going through reverse racism. But I think it's more to hurt people. You feel me? And they don't know his background. Ain't nobody, the people who saying this, I ain't saying don't nobody, but the people who doing this evidently don't know your background. So I like to tell them how long you been in the music industry. Tell them how long you've been in this industry, Kid L, and how you got started, where you started from.
So 2010-ish, 11-ish is when I started. I was in the music industry. It was like more so suburban, right? Because I was shooting for people everywhere. It wasn't just Detroit. I was shooting for people from all over Michigan. I was shooting documentaries. I was shooting music videos. I was shooting production because that's what I cared about. And then I kind of got a break in 2017 when I met Sada Baby. Me and Sada Baby started working together, started shooting music videos with him. Then my name started really getting around everywhere. People were like, yo, let's work, let's work, let's work. I started building friendships and real relationships in the city and outside the city. And then eventually when the podcast came, I already had built so many relationships up to the point where everybody was just like, yo, we want to come on your podcast. And that's really how everything started. It was a bunch of my friends wanting to come on, a bunch of people who knew from friends who wanted to come on. And I was cool with people. And I was like, yo, let's work. You're hot. My name's hot. Your name's hot. I'm interested in your story. You need help. Let's work. That's how I looked at everything. I never looked like, even when I was a kid, bro, like I know it's kind of like out of place to say it a little bit, but I swear when people talk about race to me, I still don't get it. Like I get it to some degree, bro. Like I do get it to some degree. Like there's concepts about everybody's culture, whether you're Middle Eastern, whether you're Japanese, whatever the hell you are. I do understand and appreciate the subtleties in people's ethnicities and their culture and their racial background. But when I was growing up, bro, I never thought about none of that shit. Like that shit never crossed my fucking mind, bro. It wasn't until people started talking about it so much and I'm like, oh shit, maybe there is like a divide. Like maybe there is a fucking thing where like you're this color and you're from there and you're from over here. And like I gotta treat you a different way or I gotta treat you a different way because of that. It's like people kind of try to instill that shit in me. And to this day, I still don't fucking really reciprocate to that shit. I just look at people as fucking people, bro. I never looked at anybody as like a race or a culture or a background. Now, what I will say when it comes to the black culture and the hip hop community, the depths of history and like everything that people have had to overcome, that's just something you can't avoid and you can't disregard. You have to look at the history of what happened to black people. You have to look at segregation. You have to look at slavery. You have to look at everything that happened up until like possibly the Emancipation Proclamation, and even after that, there was still bullshit because there was segregation. So you can't dismiss any of that shit. So that's why I think there's so much protection in it, and there has to be an understanding towards that. You have to be like, okay, I do get that shit. I can't totally dismiss culture. I can't totally dismiss race and community because there are certain elements that do matter. You know what I'm saying?
So let me say this to you, right? I had a train of thought, and I want to reverse it right now because I'm just like I'm a protectionist. I'm a protectionist, so to speak, and I'm the type of guy like, man, if a motherfucker trying to attack me, man, I'm gonna attack their ass back, type shit, right? But I do understand that you're trying to be especially sensitive because you understand that you are walking in you are walking on a path that is predominantly a black path. But I want you to understand this, and I'm going to get some blowback for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There are people who are not black who have made a positive impact and influence on black things, whether it's sports, entertainment, politics, and some of the biggest hindrances that black people face some of the biggest roadblocks and
Did I
impediments.
lag out or did he lag out?
Say again, Juice. Some of the biggest hindrances that we face in all things, whether it's sports, politics, religion, entertainment, life. Some of the biggest impediments and roadblocks that we experience, they come from people who look just like us. Right? I always say that racism will never die. It's going to always be here because you have people who believe that they are better than black people solely because that they are not black and we are black. There are people who have preconceived, fixed notions of who they think we are and what they think we are and what they think we're capable of. But when it comes to this hip hop thing, bro, when it comes to entertainment, when people say, well, Kid L only interviews black people, I don't look at that. I know you have not made $1 million off of this interview thing, right? I know that you have used the power of your platform to help support and buttress and inspire people's careers. I know that some of your
how they mad though? How they mad if they calling Kid L phone? Like he not making nobody come on there. I'm sure you not making nobody do nothing.
Nah,
You
man, have you
can't
seen
make
it? My arms are not that big, son. I'm
you
not
can't make
playing.
nobody do nothing. So when that phone ring and business calling, you know it's time to go to work. But he didn't make them make the call.
Let me tell you
Black,
this, man.
white, Chinese,
A lot of
Asian, like
a lot of people that hate me right now, especially the higher ups, the people that kind of run shit, they used to hit me up all the time to get their artists on my platform. And then they're the same people who used to turn their back on me like later in the future if something had happened, like with the Randy Rosario thing. So many people turned their back on me that asked me for favors before that. And it was like crazy watching it. Like it really blows your mind when you see this shit. Like I think I'm the only person that experiences this probably in the world. You get people that will talk to you in person like they love you, and then on social media, a post will go up and you'll just see their comment like, "Yeah, screw
bro.
Kid L." And I'm
Well,
just like, every like on a way where like you were just maybe you too, dog face, but you are so confused. There's that dude who posted who made a post on the news and he said, "Yeah, Kid L dissed me at an event." You know what I'm saying? He didn't show me no love. And if you, when you watch the footage, it's me literally saying, "What up, bro? How you doing, man? Let's get to the front, man. Let's get to the VIP." And it's us walking, and it's like that same person is taking shots at me, going crazy. I mean, I'm like, thank God, there's footage to prove that that's all lies. Even with the Randy Rosario thing, she was trying to say, "Oh, he was doing this and he was doing that," and then the footage came out of me just chilling, watching the show. It's like why yeah like and then these same people are the ones who are asking me for favors, who are asking to come on my podcast, who are asking for the artists to come on my podcast. But then like an Instagram post will go up and then all of a sudden you'll see them say, yeah, he is a culture vulture, yeah, get him out the city. It's like, you are calling me. I can pull up DMs, Crystal the Doll, I can pull up DMs right now of you asking to come on my podcast. What are we talking about here? Like how this is why I don't give a fuck about what anybody has to say, by the way. This is why I really don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. When people's minds can shift like that, I can't take you seriously as a human anymore. Because my mind doesn't shift like that. My mind can't look at somebody and be like, I rock with this dude. Nothing has changed. I don't rock with you anymore. Between nothing has changed now, I don't rock. That's crazy. That's called a crazy person, bro.
only
That's called
thing that
that.
changed is it turned to a trend. They don't really feel that way.
Yeah,
They
that's what
just
I'm
see the
saying, bro.
next person say
Everybody who
something
says
and
that,
they feel like
everybody who, yeah.
they got more clout than me, so I gotta go with what they talk about because it's no way you can really feel that way. And you in the inbox, or maybe you didn't get back to them fast
I have
enough.
a question. I have a question. I want
That
to.
don't make sense.
I
That's
want to put this
crazy.
question to you, right? Kid L, what mistakes, what missteps, what mistakes, what missteps, what mishaps, what errors in judgment as you look back at your career? What have you done wrong?
I would say that the only thing in my whole career that
What have you done wrong to black people?
Mhm.
What have you done to violate and offend black culture? What have you done? What have you done to rub people in the entertainment scene wrong? What can you admit that you have done? What missteps can you say, hey, I fucked up here, here, here? There must be something. Or what do you wish you could have done better or would have done better?
What I could have done better. I probably could have like communicated with like people more and like done more public like talks where I explain myself, like explain my background, explain where I'm from, explain how I got involved in everything, just so people have like a biography of like, all right, I get where he's from, so it makes it easier to understand my background. Because when I meet people in person, they give me like a really, really hard look, and then when we start talking, they have a bad tone with me. By the end of the conversation, they're like, you know what, man, like I had the wrong idea about you. So I guess like not really giving people my story or not really giving people too much access to me, because you should have an understanding of the person who's one of the biggest media platforms in Michigan. Like you should kind of know about him a little bit. Like we don't know about Vlad too much, and I guess that's why people, are really scared of him, because you don't know nothing about him, but he exposes people and does all that shit. So I wish I probably did that a little bit more of an introduction to what I was doing, but I was just working, bro. At the end of the day, I'm doing what every other entertainer is doing. I'm just working. We're not thinking we're working. Like if you look at it like this, right? Think about all these rappers that were always promoting like lean and violence and all this stuff and just crazy, crazy nonsense for the youth to grow up to and listen to. I'm sure they look back at their music like, damn, bro, I really wish I had not pushed that shit. I really wish I had not pushed all that lean and all that type of shit. But you're just entertaining. You're just kind of in your zone. You're just working, bro. That's why it's kind of hard when you talk about entertainment and culture, because entertainment is its own thing, bro. If you're an entertainer, you're an entertainer, bro. Like it's in your blood. Like you're just thinking like, man, I got this great idea. Boom, let's go. I got this other idea. Boom, let's go. You're not really thinking like all these like, red tape, all this red tape and all these things. You can't talk about this.
Right.
You can't talk about this. You can't cross that line. You're kind of just sitting there like, damn, bro, there's all these rules to this shit when you're just trying to fucking entertain. So it's hard for anybody to look back at what they wish they could have done, because you're just entertaining, man. That's a different world. The
Dude,
only thing I still regret, though, I'm not gonna lie, this is the only thing that I really wish I did not do 2 times, which I really wish I did not do this.
mm-hmm.
2 people did my podcast, and both of them passed away tragically from like they were murdered. And one of them had come on my podcast and they were saying something crazy. And I said, you shouldn't talk about that on the podcast. I was like, don't talk about that shit. Because that shit's gonna get you caught up with the police or with whoever you got a problem with, you're gonna get caught up in that shit. But they kept telling me, like, no, I want to promote this. Like, you can't tell me what I can promote and can't promote. I want to promote this. So I kind of was like, all right, do what you got to do. Like that's how you want to do it. Go for it. And they did it. And that person, one of them ended up passing away 3 months later. And they everybody promoted that clip when they talked about that person passing away. They promoted that specific clip. And then another person, the same situation had happened where he came on my podcast. He started saying some crazy stuff, and then he ended up passing away like 3 weeks later. And I told them, I warned both of them beforehand. I told them, I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should just leave it alone. But they're like, no, I want to promote that. If you don't promote it, then what the hell? I just wasted my time with you, because I know that's going to get me views. And I kind of, in retrospect, I wish I had not promoted those things. But that's the only thing, because 2 lives are lost, bro. That's real shit. That's like families have been destroyed because people come on and say crazy ass shit. And half the time, I don't know if they're fucking joking or not, or if they're just trying to get clout, but they have real circumstances going on. And you're like, you want to promote this shit? And they go, yeah, I want to promote this shit. And you're like, all right, like I have to kind of do it.
What about that when you did that caricature comedy skit with them black women when you was doing that old with the do-rag on? Do you feel like that was insensitive of you?
I was having fun, motherfucker. I was having a good ass time. I don't give a fuck what they're talking about with that shit.
You lead in questions. You go. So
fuck all that.
Listen, do people forget that Kid L is a comedian?
Fuck yeah, I mean, what the fuck? Hey, bro, this whole fucking thing started off with me joking and making skits, and all of a sudden I got serious as fuck out of nowhere. I'm like, what? I was having fun. Plus, bro, I used to be Austin Powers back in the day. You don't fucking know, bro. Like I was crazy out there, son. I was at the parties. I was doing what I had to do.
What you did first, though, Kid L, was you was doing videos first. You was a videographer first.
Yeah, first I was a music video director.
So that's what I was listening to That's where it started off at right there. See, you was behind the scenes then. You see what I'm saying? So people didn't know your story.
So there was two sides. There was
Go
the
ahead.
stuff that Detroit picked up, which was the music videos, but I was also making skits and content that most people just didn't even know existed because I would promote that shit on my Facebook, like my personal Facebook. My name's Lawrence. I have a personal Facebook under Lawrence, and I was promoting skits on there. And I remember trying to promote that shit like with Detroit, and Detroit's like, we don't fucking even understand what the fuck you're talking about. So when I started shooting music videos, I started making skits about shooting music videos. Like, you know how rappers have guns pointed at the video camera guy, all that type of shit. Like I would make skits like that because I was living it and I was like, that shit's funny. So that shit started taking my name off right there because I was making skits while I was making music videos at the same time. If you scroll down my page, if you go down to like my first 200 posts, you'll see all the skits, you'll see all the music videos, you'll see all that shit. It's not like my page is just interviews. There's a lot of shit on there, bro.
I got something I want to ask you, and we've talked about this before, but we've never really kind of like nailed down or kind of like, hey, Kid L, you have landed interviews with the who's who in Detroit's entertainment scene. There's nobody ever in the history of podcasting, of interviewing, ever since the beginning of podcasting, since the beginning of this shit. There's nobody who's landed more A-list, Detroit A-list celebrity interviews than you have, right? I'm not going to put, man, fuck all that. I gotta just keep it going, bro. I ain't finna play no game with this shit. Other interview platforms that exist in the city. I'm going to point out one thing in specific. There are other interview platforms that are legit interview platforms who are professional, well-managed, well-orchestrated, well-arranged. I always draw the comparison between the Forum magazine and you when I say what I'm about to say. I know the person and the persons behind the Forum magazine. The Forum magazine has reached out to the same people that you have reached out to. And in many cases, the Forum magazine have reached out to people requesting to interview them. And they have ignored the Forum magazine. The Forum magazine is a Black-owned, professionally ran platform. The same people who will trip over their mama's left foot to come sit down on that couch, they won't even return phone calls from the Forum magazine. They leave the Forum magazine unread.
Damn.
Or unseen.
God damn, son.
When they DM them. The same
Right.
people who criticizing you when the Forum magazine or other Black-owned interview podcast series reach out to them, they ignore them. Flat out ignore them. So this is one of the reasons why I am so critical towards people who are critical towards you. Because if you're not going to support Kid L, and you really feel like Kid L is what you say he is, if you really feel like he's a culture vulture, he's a hater, he doesn't respect Black people, if you really feel like that, then what is your problem when it comes to other legit, well-managed, well-orchestrated, well-arranged, professional podcasters who are Black like you're Black, from the same city you're from? When they reach out to you, y'all don't fuck with them.
So I'll what's the question exactly? I think I know what you're asking me, but
My question is, what do you think about all of these people in Detroit who got so much to say about you? But
yeah.
when somebody who is somebody Black who has a interview series such as what you have, when they reach out to them, they ignore them. What say you about that?
So let's break it down like this, right? Because this is how podcasting really works. For instance, when 9K Rondé got out of jail, right? They hit me up first, and then they hit the Forum magazine up. They hit both, but There were certain things in place where like, we get first release basically type shit. And everybody just wants the biggest bang for the moment. And the only way to do that is by going on the biggest platform of that media stance. Like if you're a media platform, if you're a podcaster, they want to go to the biggest one. For instance, Rio, when he got out, where'd he go to? Didn't he go to where did Rio go to when he got out?
He went to Off the Porch.
No, he did something bigger. Rio did something bigger than Off the Porch when he got out. But I forget. But anyway, basically, you want to get the biggest bang when you come out or when you
Yep.
do an interview for your release. You want to make sure that shit drops first,
Right.
because they want to make sure that they get the highest amount of reach. They don't want to go to anybody who doesn't get the highest amount of reach. And
Mhm.
sometimes, like PZ, for instance, when he came here, he didn't really do too many interviews when he was getting ready for his album. The only podcast he for real did when he was doing his release was me, because they know how big the reach is. So they don't really want to waste their time unless they're getting that reach.
$1
They
million
don't want to
per
wait.
game. He went to $1 million per game. Rio
But I'm
did.
talking about Detroit. I'm talking about Detroit. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Rio for yeah. He went. So that's huge, right? That's humongous.
Mhm.
So why didn't he come to a Detroit platform first? Why didn't he go to No Jumper first? It's because he was like, no, I'm gonna go for the biggest thing that I can get to, like whoever's the biggest or whoever paid the most, whatever the circumstance might be. But the whole point is it's not really a race thing. It's more about what makes the most sense. How do I get the most amount of exposure for what I'm about to release or what I'm about to do right now? And they don't want to waste a story on a platform that's not going to get the reach, because they don't want to say the same story twice. They don't want platforms colliding as far as content's pushed and all that stuff. This is more technical stuff that's less interesting to people, but this is like the real dynamics of how podcasting works.
When they
So
say that, they're going to say that some racist shit that you just said.
wow, what's racist?
Because you're saying that when people make a decision about where they want to go, they go to the top of the totem pole first. And they're saying that you're saying you're at the top of the totem pole. Some people feel like that you're not at the top of the totem pole.
In Detroit?
Yes.
In Michigan?
Yes.
I mean, you can look at the numbers and get back to me. I mean, look at the numbers; they're all there for you to
No,
see.
I'm
So,
just saying though. They
but how's that racist though? That's like
don't-
the algorithm shit. That's like
they
real.
don't
Like, there's
like-
numbers.
they don't like that you were able to say that, Kiddo. They
But
don't
it's
like.
the facts. Like, okay, Lando was the only other person who was able to sustain the same amount, but he doesn't. He's so like, I don't think he does podcasting like that for real. I think he just does
Nah,
it when he
Lando just doing what Lando want to do right now.
Yeah, he does it when he does it when he wants to do it, which is cool.
Right.
That's his thing. But nobody's doing the numbers. Like, bro, we get if you go to our TikTok, if you go to our YouTube, if you go to our Instagram, you can see literally millions weekly. Like, you'll see like hundreds of thousands, millions, 20,000, 50,000. Like people want real numbers. They don't want to fucking come on and be like, all right, man, I just wasted all these topics, all these conversations with a platform that doesn't really have that much reach. That's the if you look at the Rondé interview that dropped, my reach with him with Detroit Rap News and them, we got over like 400 to 500,000 views on one clip alone. And if you look at the four magazines, I don't even think they touched like 50. So it's like that's no shade, that's no shot at them, that's no shade to them. But that's how these artists are thinking. They're thinking to themselves like, how can I get the biggest reach for this story? That's what they think about when they do this shit. They don't give a fuck about who I could be some random ass anybody. They're thinking who the fuck can give me the biggest reach? Or who do I click with the most and I think I can get the biggest reach with?
Why you think you get the most views on your channel,
Bro, because
opposed to everybody else that get the same interviews?
let me just tell y'all something, bro. D Brown. So D Brown is a funny example because everybody knows D Brown's hilarious. Like, he's a gem in the city. He did an interview with me. We got on Instagram alone, we did millions of views, and then on TikTok alone, we did millions of views. YouTube, he didn't do like YouTube views are completely different. It doesn't really work like that. But then he was like, all right, I'm start charging for interviews. And he went to do a few other interviews, no numbers. They did no numbers. Nothing came out of that. Nothing happened. It's because I'm a fucking entertainer, bro. I'm a real tainer. Like, I don't think people understand this shit. Like, I'm not just a regular motherfucker where like I'm just like, oh, he's just a random ass dude. No, I'm a fucking entertainer, bro. Like literally, I've been on stages, bro. I promoted events. I've been in movies. I've been in skits. I've been with Jack Funny. We got over fucking 10 million views together. Like, I'm a real fucking entertainer. I know how to make shit work. I know how to make people pop off. And over time, we really built ourselves as a notable platform that's getting high exposure because we stayed consistent. We got good ass stories, and I know how to facilitate fucking good ass interviews. You can't take one person like Rondé even though I fucked up that interview. You can't take a person like Rondé and just be like, okay, he's gonna do good on this podcast and this podcast and this podcast. It's about who he's working with. It's about who's next to him that you're gonna get the best interview from. That interview got fucked up just because I don't even want to get into it, but that was the only flop I had as far as interviews are concerned. Just because I don't want to get into it, but it's just, it is what it is.
Detroit gossip.
Man, I'm sitting taking all this in, right? In the way that I'm looking at it, that kid, you can stop me anytime.
We can't hear you, bro. You cloudy as hell.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you cloudy as hell.
It ain't coming out clear. You muffling the mic.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay. Dog hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
This the way I'm looking at the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
It seems as if Kid L has found himself in a situation that others are comfortable with kicking. What I mean, right? It's a lot of people attempting to do the same thing he doing. And that alone is enough for him to catch the flack that he having. Also, by people not knowing his background, they always gonna go what they think they know. Because a lot of times when one's out doing what they do, there is no need to tell your background. You see what I'm saying? And when you don't tell your background, you have others trying to fill in the blanks for you, which all can be wrong, and it turn into some misdirected anger and hate.
Absolutely.
And that's how I see the situation. And it's easy. You know what I mean? He's not running around saying that he's black, but when quote unquote black people want to be in that position, okay, now we got a problem because I ain't in that position and Kid L doing this. You see what I'm saying? So he found himself that I think in a situation that other people think it's easy to dog and try to dog and kick them around and all that type of stuff.
And
I could agree with that.
They a lot of people is ignorant to the hip hop culture's history. Because like we was just talking earlier, Rick Rubin was Russell Simmons' right-hand man that started the first rap group. You feel me? So is he in culture vulture? That's what I was asked. So you know, people got to ask themselves. A lot of people don't even know who Rick Rubin is. You feel me?
Well, I would say too, what the crazy part is, right? If you look at No Jumper, how many Detroit rappers have been on that? A prolific amount that won't touch my platform. You know what I'm saying? So it's culture vulture is like, what are we talking about here? Sometimes it's like you can look at it like a race-based thing, or you could just be like that. I'm just gonna use that as an excuse to not fuck with him or whatever the case might be. Like Trick did an interview on the Foreign magazine, but he said no to me. So it's just you never know but his manager is Mikey Eckstein, who's white. So it's like you never know what people are thinking. So it really is just like that. It really
Why do you think he said no to you? Honestly,
I have no clue because I fuck with Trick heavy, bro. I've been listening to Trick since I was like fucking baby, bro. Like I love Trick. I've been to his shows, I've been to his events when he has those weed kickoffs and all that shit. And I met him in person like in 2017. And so he was cool. I met him backstage too when I was giving an award at the Detroit Native Film Festival by Darren Brown like 2 years ago. I was backstage with him. And then a year ago, everybody was saying like, you need Trick on the podcast. You need Trick on the podcast. So I messaged him or I DM'd him and I left a comment and it's public. You can see it. I said, Trick, man, can I get an interview with you? And he said, no, thank you. And then I said, I was joking with him. I was like, what if we just have a room that has cameras and audio equipment recording and I just talk to you? And he's like, no, again, no, thank you. And that was it. And I was like, damn, bro.
Did he hurt your feelings?
I was just confused because Mikey Eckstein's been hitting me up lately, which is his manager, throwing me some solid ass interviews. Like he's been recommending people the hell out of to me like crazy. And then 3 weeks ago, Foreign Magazine did an interview with Trick. So I'm like, I know Mikey had to have been like, yo, Trick, you should go on Kid L podcast. And he had to have said no. Because he can't just be throwing me all these bones and then all of a sudden be like, oh, the one guy I'm tied to the most, I haven't mentioned him to you yet. Like he knows. So I have no clue why Trick doesn't fuck with me, bro. I have zero clue. Like that shit. I've never said nothing wrong to him, did nothing wrong to him. I never made a post that went against him. Nobody's ever said some foul shit about him on my podcast. So I have no clue what's going on with that for real.
What made you target the hip hop culture as opposed to your own culture or any other entertainment culture?
Like I said, I never really targeted anything, bro. It was like I was shooting music videos. Nolan Presley was one of the first people I was working with. He's 2 Chainz, a sound engineer. This is like 2011, 2012. James Mosley, Bobber Harry, this one Indian guy, one black guy, one white guy, right? That I'm talking about, 3 different races right here. I was friends with all of these cats, and they all prospered in their own ways. And I was shooting music videos, and I was making skits, and I was shooting documentaries, and I was networking, and whoever ended up being my friend was my friend. Sada Baby was one of the first people where like we actually had a genuine connection and a real relationship. Like we were fucking with each other, talking to each other all the time, kicking it, student basketball games together. And naturally, people started gravitating towards me, like, yo, I want a music video, I want a music review, I want to network with you. And then by the time interviews had came up, I had built all these relationships with all these people, mainly from the city, because that's where all hip hop's happening for real in Detroit. And I'm a friendly motherfucker, bro. Like I fuck with motherfuckers. I fuck with hip hop. I fuck with the people from the scene. I fuck with the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just naturally what it is. I didn't just like start listening to rap like yesterday, bro. I've been listening to rap since I was a baby, like straight up. Like it's not like some random shit where I'm like, yeah, bro, like I'm randomly gonna get into Detroit's rap music scene. Like this was not a planned thing. It just happened. If you look at every major Detroit figure that's backed me, Peasy, Vezo, Sada, Skilla, look at all these cats, they all say the same thing. They've all vouched for me. And do you think motherfuckers like that are gonna vouch for somebody that they didn't spend enough time with around and go, no, he's not what people say he is. If you think that these motherfuckers are fucking with somebody that's fucked up like that, then why are you listening to them? Why are you listening to School? Why are you listening to Vezo? Why are you listening to Peasy? If they have such a fucked up stance on who they appreciate from the city, why the fuck are y'all listening to them?
I really am trying to be conservative in my approach with this whole thing. I do not think so. Let me just not act like a nigga for a second, right? Because I really want to act like a nigga right here. But I'm not going to act like a nigga. Do I think that you are Malcolm X? No. Do I think that you are Emmett Till? No. Do I think that you are Barack Obama? No. Do I think that you are, what's the white guy name who led the revolt in Virginia? Last name Brown? Juice?
Revolt?
This some slave shit, bro. What was his name?
You telling Jim Brown? It was Jim Brown.
No, he was the pastor who helped the slaves revolt against white people in the South and killed them and stabbed them and fucked them up. What's his name?
God damn,
Okay.
Last name Brown.
Well, what's the fucking?
No, yeah, he helped Nat Turner.
God damn.
Right.
He helped Nat Turner. Who was the guy who helped Nat Turner? The white guy. He was a pastor. He helped Nat Turner. Last name Brown.
I can't remember his name.
John Brown.
John Brown.
They goddamn jigger at it again.
I said Jim is John.
You always think about some football, motherfucker. It's football. So listen, Kid, do I think that you are a student of black culture? No, I don't think you're a student of black culture. Do you have to be a student of black culture in order to be a fan of hip hop? I think hip hop has been commercialized so much so throughout the world. I don't think that you have to be a student or an observer of black culture in order to fall in love with hip hop now, because hip hop has been homogenized. It's been pasteurized so much that you have people who can quote some obscure hip hop artists in America, in China, in Japan. They know it word for fucking word. You have rappers from America who can't get booked for a show, but can go to Europe and go to Southeast Asia and be fucking rock stars, bro. So do I think that do you really have to appreciate what it means to be black in order to be a fan of the culture, the entertainment culture? I don't know that you do. Do we hold something against you if you are operating inside this space and you haven't tried to learn or familiarize yourself with with the origins of what makes this thing tick that you are so passionate about and that you are undoubtedly benefiting from? Yeah, people can tax that to you. Yeah, they can say, yeah, Kid L. Well, you have an obligation to learn about the culture. But Kid L, let me tell you something, bro. You have black people who don't know a motherfucking thing about black culture. You have black people who are fucking clueless. So just because you're black, that means you're automatically in. I guess we are grandfathered in because it comes from us. So it's a part of our DNA. But just because you are not black doesn't mean that you don't have any positive contributions and that you haven't contributed positive. And I don't think people should just focus on that without taking into consideration everything that you have done and what you have meant to the entertainment scene. I think it's unfair for people to just run with the culture vulture thing without examining your history, your career. And I will put your record up against a lot of motherfuckers' record in terms of helping to support and build the artist awareness. If I were you, I would put my resume up against anybody.
Shit, I wouldn't do that because Ned Zeke exists, man. Ned Zeke's motherfucking.
What? Ned Zeke is not entertainment, bro. Ned Zeke is.
Oh, you talking about? Oh, you talking about entertainment? My bad. I didn't know.
We ain't talking about. First of all,
I thought you were talking about every. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Something, bro. Let me tell you something. The same people who criticize you as if they're so pro-black, they don't know who the fuck Zeke is. Trust me. Trust me. They don't know nothing about no new era, nothing. And when they look at Zeke, they feel about him like they felt about Trick. They don't like no watchers over the culture. They don't like that shit for real. They don't like nobody telling them what the fuck to do. They don't like that. Hey, listen, K.A., you know who K.A. is? K.A.? He's West Side Detroit rapper, Ye Feezy. K.A. said, Kid L blocked me simply because I asked him, did he know who I was? You want to take a stab at that? You know who K.A. is?
Oh, you're talking about this dude. I block people every day, son. So I don't know. I don't know.
You in my show, bro.
How you block my nigga K-Yay?
How you block
nigga Yay?
Hey, listen, okay, let's negotiate this, right? Can you unblock Ye Feezy, bro?
For you, of course, Dogface.
Yeah, unblock Ye Feezy, bro. Because Ye Feezy is a real nigga, real West Side champion. Okay, please.
Dog, you know how it goes because you're in the same game as me. You probably get 1,000 messages for interviews a week, right? And it's like everybody wants you to Google them. And it's like, bro, do you really think I want to see?
I'm not Googling the motherfucking thing. You hear me? I'm not. If I got to Google you, you gonna pay me, motherfucker. That's
let me ask you this. And let me ask you this, Dogface. How the fuck did you get everything deleted, all your pages deleted, but now your YouTube is fucking thriving all over again? Like, how the fuck did you do this, bro?
Well, what happens is that in the world of YouTube, it is not like social media, bro. In the world of YouTube is really a genuine space or medium for knowledge. You can't search engine on Instagram how to build an engine for a 75 Chevrolet. You can't go on YouTube. I mean, you can't go on Instagram and type in how to build a garage yourself, how to DIY. You can't go on Instagram and type in how to build a model airplane and come up with nothing. But on YouTube is a genuine space for information. So when people determine or decide they like you, whether nobody else likes you or not. If they determine they like you, they like you. So even though I was at 60,000 subscribers and my page got took, I could have right now. I think I'm almost at 10,000 in 3 months.
God damn.
I could have been at 30, 40,000 subscribers if I would have put the effort and energy into the content, the shorts, and doing everything that we know you're supposed to do to build your overall footprint in YouTube. But when my YouTube got took from me, I took everything over to Patreon. I took everything over to Patreon, and brother, Patreon is a subscription-based platform that is formatted just like YouTube, except it is subscription-based. I stopped giving a fuck about YouTube, bro. Like right now, I talk crazy. I talk crazier now on YouTube than I did when the motherfucker ratted my page out. I talk crazier now than I did then. I don't give a fuck now. I don't give a fuck. Take my YouTube. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Because Patreon gonna pay me $2,500 to $30,000 a month just to talk the same shit I talk without striking me, without getting rid of me, without doing none of that shit. So I don't give a fuck about YouTube. And I think YouTube knows it. I think YouTube know I don't give a fuck. Look at my captions. Fuck you, bitch. I be my captions on YouTube like he's a bitch. He's a hoe. He's a rat. His fuck his mama. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it. Take it. I don't give a fuck. Don't care. Kid L, listen. There are people who have criticized me, and there are people who did nothing to aid and assist me on my journey. There are people who, when I suffered the loss of losing my YouTube, losing my Instagram, there are people who I've been knowing for years who never said, hey, Dogface lost his page, go follow him. Kid L, his idea, not mine. When he heard that I lost my Instagram page 1 out of 3 times in the last year, Kid L said, doggy, I'm going to go live with you, bro. For 5 days, we're going to do about a half hour. I'm going to tell my followers to follow you. We did that 3 times. And in about 30 days, I had 4,000 or 5,000 followers just from Kid L asking his subscribe, but my page kept getting took.
It was impossible to maintain it, bro.
It was impossible to maintain it. I don't
There's
give
so much politics too with you, man. There's so many politics. It's like I get just like how you get phone calls about me, I get phone calls about you. It's like, what the fuck, man?
So let me ask you a question. Oh, good. I'm glad you said that. What non-black person called you and said, what white person, what Chaldean person, what Arab person, what Bangladeshi, what Indian, what Puerto Rican, what Mexican, what Venezuelan, what person who is not black, has anybody besides black people called you, text you, DM'd you, and told you don't fuck with Dogface?
No.
So what the fuck is you? Everybody that has called you the culture vulture, everybody who's called the white boy, no, you're not white, but everybody who has called the white boy, everybody from Detroit who has called the white boy, who listens to this juice and Detroit gossip, everybody who has called Kid L and told him, don't interview Dogface, don't help him build his platform back up, don't support him, don't like him. Are you telling me that everybody who has done that has been a black man or a black woman?
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it.
That says so much right there. Where everybody talking about supporting. Here it is. The hate always gonna come from your own. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what happened is, dog, you went full attack on people that hold power in the city, and it's like
Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Don't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I did. I'm black. I may not have been born in Detroit, but I was born in black skin. I may not have been born in Detroit.
You know what somebody said about you? So
Tell
after
me.
and then I'll give you a story of one person that's pretty well known. We did an interview, and after the interview, they told me to take anything about you out of the interview because we had discussed you during the interview. They said take him out. And they were like, you know what? You should stop fucking with him. And I was like, why? He's like, he's like to me, he's a hurricane. He just comes in, destroys shit, and then he disappears. And he's like, you can't invest in people like that because they're not here to help. They're here to basically, he was saying you are a culture vulture because you basically destroy and disappear. Like you don't fulfill anything. And I remember just going like, bro, I look at shit like entertainment. I don't look at shit like that. Unless you're really doing some shit that I know is fucked up, then I'm not gonna be like, nah, fuck that person. Like you have to do some real fucked up shit for me to be like, nah, like he's X'd out.
Let me tell you what I've done. I started throwing concerts, independent concerts. My tour was called the Mob Life Music Tour in 2012-13, wherein we would take artists from Detroit, Pontiac, Ypsilanti, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Jackson, Battle Creek. I would take them on tour. St. Louis, Memphis, Alabama. Right? I would take them on a tour and I would put them in sold out venues. And some of these artists had no name recognition whatsoever. And they certainly didn't have any name recognition in the cities in which I took them to. I opened up the relationship between Detroit and Tampa Bay. The reason why you have Solid Baby get booked in Tampa Bay, because of me. The reason why you have T Grizzly booked in Tampa Bay, because of me. Vezo, because of me. Babyface Ray, because of me. Y&J, Louis Ray and Flint, because of me. 42 Doug, because of me. Me. On April 25th, it is 313 to 813 weekend. It is Detroit to Tampa Bay weekend, starring Big Ghetto. The biggest concert of the year thus far is going to happen on Friday, April 25th in Tampa Bay at District 8, starring Big Ghetto. I'm also doing a DJ appreciation and networking brunch, in which I'm taking the top radio DJs from Florida and bringing them to Tampa Bay, and I'm taking the top radio personality from Detroit and taking them, all expenses paid, to Tampa Bay to host a networking event so that we can further build and strengthen the relationship between Detroit and Tampa Bay. I'm doing that. Me and Helliver. So when motherfuckers say what I haven't done, they don't have a motherfucking clue. They're clueless. And as far as what a motherfucker say about me, bro, you can't be in this business and be thin-skinned. I've been called everything from a rat to gay. I've been saying, I've been called I got beat up in prison and everything. You can't be in this business and be thin-skinned. But one thing I can tell you, I'm gonna tell you what I can tell you. Say this right here. Let me tell you what I can tell you. This is what I can tell you. Watch this. This is what I can tell you. Give me 1 second. This is what I can tell you. Hold on. This is what I can tell you. This is what I can tell you. This is what I can tell you right here.
Goddamn.
I can tell you that.
Let me borrow some money, goddamn, son.
Wait, hold on. Oh, that's not his. That's not his money. That's somebody else's. What'd that say? Hello, who?
Christian.
We're right. So listen, and I can show you 4 more accounts with $100,000+ in them right now. That has nothing to do with my real estate. I own real estate in 5 different states.
Shit.
I own 3 businesses.
Give me a hit.
They are all operating in the black. In the city of Detroit alone, I own 23 different houses, 4 different commercial properties. Not to mention all the shit I own in Pontiac. Not to mention the shit I own in Bloomfield and Commerce Township that I just acquired. Not to mention the businesses that I have in Georgia. Not to mention all the land that I just purchased in Alabama where my forefathers and foremothers were fucking slaves. Not to mention that. So when the motherfucker talking about me, man, all I'm going to do is laugh and go to Somerset. I swear to God. All I'm going to do is continue to pay for my kids' college tuition. I swear to God. And my kids ain't nowhere near college. All I'm going to do is to continue to take care and support my family and the people that show me love. That's all I'm going to do. I can put my hand on $500,000 of cash right now within 24 hours. I'm not worried about what the fuck these niggas talking about when they've never even bought a house, never drove a new car off the lot. I'm not concerned at all. That's what people are getting mixed up. I'm not concerned. Dogface a rat. Dogface got beat up. Dogface, hey, listen, man, all you got to do is walk up to me and say any of that and see how it work out for you. The motherfuckers who talking about me, they can't fuck with me at all. The motherfuckers who talk about you can't fuck with you at all. And for everybody who criticizes you, but then turns around and don't go support the Forum magazine, which is black owned, I got a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Ain't nobody close to me. Nobody close to me. Nobody who I fuck with. Nobody who I got love for and got love for me. I don't leave them out there, bro. I don't leave them out there. Everybody who's close to me, they're either successful or on their way to be successful. I don't allow my friends to sit around me and I play big dog on them. I always give them information and give them knowledge to help them increase their overall net worth. That's what the fuck I'm into. I always give them myself. So when the motherfucker talking about me, man, I don't give a fuck about them niggas, man, at all, period. And you should adopt the mentality that I have. Because the motherfuckers who talking about you, they ain't going to the Forum magazine. That's my point.
Yeah, and also I do want to add to that. What I said about the Forum magazine earlier, that wasn't me trying to take shots at them. That was just people relaying and me watching how the shit works. I've been on the Forum magazine. It was one of the best interviews I've ever been a part of. They do their research. They really get in detail. They make you feel comfortable. They bring out the best in you. They're just building. They're still building to a point where, once they get to a certain stature, everybody will go fuck with them. They just got to get to that point where the volume's high. You know what I mean?
It is, but it is, man. Kid L, how do you want to lead? How does any Boogie? What you want to say? You have any questions?
No, I'm good with Kid L, man. I ain't got no questions because I know it's pretty much just it's all hate what he didn't already did. People trying to do, and they hate that shit. That's all it is.
Juice.
I think he just misunderstood and he going through racism. You feel me? So you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the crowd. You know what I'm saying? We go through it as well. You know what I'm saying? We might not hear from the same people you hear from. We hear from the higher execs. We deal with it with the higher exec. And some people gonna use that card all the time just as an excuse, a crutch. You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked you your background, where you come from, let people know, you might just be misunderstood. They don't know you and they going off the color of his skin. You feel me?
I appreciate that. I'm probably gonna was hella pissed at Ishan for spazzing out on him. Yeah, that was great. I will say this. Now I'm probably gonna regret saying some shit like this. Nah, I shouldn't say some shit like this.
No, say it. Fuck that. Give me
No, fuck all that. Fuck all that.
I dare you. I double dare you. You coward motherfuckers.
Right.
You go stop.
I'm just saying this, man.
You a coward if you don't say it.
How mad everybody was about 313 weekend and what the venues did to them. Welcome to my world, motherfucker. Like, that shit is like you're trying to do something right and then people are just telling you no. And that shit hurts, bro. Like, that shit don't feel good when you're trying to do the right things. I don't ever wake up thinking I'm trying to do something wrong to hurt the community or hurt the culture or hurt hip hop in any type of way. I never wake up thinking that. I always think, like, how do I make this shit better? How do I get this shit more involved? How do I do the right thing? How do I trim out the shit that's going to mess everything up? And it's like when people block that off or they try to stop it or they try to gatekeep me or they try to say he's the culture vulture and all that shit hurts, bro. It's like you get claimed to be something or you get bubbled up in something and people just go like, you know what, go get out of here, fly away. Like, we don't want you to be here. That's how this shit feels. I hope that shit don't get me fucked up, but that's just how I feel.
Fuck it. We got room for you in the YouTube streets.
Yes, we do. We have room for you in the illustrious halls of the YouTube streets. Is where everybody want to be here because everybody quoting from us. Everybody taking our content and we're not even striking them. We'll let them take it. You know why? Because when you talk about Dogface, when you talk about Boogie, when you talk about Juice, all you're doing is making it bigger.
I want to say one last thing for this new wave of artists. Obviously, as we're seeing, the wave of artists that's contributed heavily are still doing their thing. They're still doing great, but we really need to start paying attention to these new artists. We have to start paying attention to these new artists that are coming up, whether they have 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 followers. A lot of these cats are on their way to making big moves. We got to start paying attention to them before it's too late and they already figure out their own route, or they might go in the opposite direction. I know artists that have 1,000 followers right now that are more talented than people who have 100,000 followers. They just don't have the reach. They don't have the exposure. They don't have the guidance. They don't have the big homie. They don't have the investor. They don't have the label backing them. But these guys are better than some of the bigger followed artists right now. So we really need to start paying attention. We need to start paying attention to these guys that have 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers, low subscriber count. A lot of these guys are super, super talented and they're fresh, man. They have new sounds, new ideas, new contributions. We need to start paying attention to them. All these investors, all these producers, all these cameramen, start looking at the guys who have small following, because the big guys already got their own system. They already got their own ecosystem of people to go to. Start looking at the guys who are still building themselves up. Trust me, just go scouring on Instagram. Go to Detroit Rap Daily, Detroit Rap News, the Hip Hop Lab. Look at these new guys coming up, bro. These guys got something for real.
Kid L, I want to thank you for being a part of this conversation, this discussion. It's a much needed one. You are always welcome to come back here. I don't give a fuck. Let nobody say. I'm going to support you in my darkest hour. When I was on the ground crying, boo-hooing about losing my YouTube channel with 60,000 subscribers and my Instagram page at 40,000 subscribers that I didn't pay for not one of them. They were all real, right?
That shit hurt. Watching that shit.
Right?
That shit hurt.
Kid L went live with me for a whole week, shouted me out, everything, man. So I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Kid L is not a culture vulture. I will fight anybody who says anything different.
Appreciate you, doggy, man. I appreciate the fuck out of you, bro. You know that. Like, I appreciate you fellas. I appreciate you fellas too, man. Thanks for being a part of this and really helping navigate the conversation, man.
Appreciate you as well. Appreciate you as well for sharing that and coming on here, speaking your piece, and letting the people know who the real Kid L is, and not keep assuming. You feel me?
Big Ron, what's up, Big Ron? Hey, listen, Kid L. Listen to my new theme music, Kid L. Hold on.
What you do today? The young OG, bitch, I talk more shit than Dogface.
The most dangerous voice in Detroit is running all over the YouTube streets. You better look over your shoulder, because you never know who or what's going to get it next. Because Dogface TV is in the area.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.